Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. With that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsors. Organic herbs and botanicals, skincare and edibles, wellness for body and mind. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. Ronald Records. From indie gems to classic hits, discover the heart of local music. With live shows all the time, up close and personal, and regular releases on their in-house label. Ronald Records. Supporting the community, one track at a time. All right, thank you all so much for watching. Again, shout out The Brothers Apothecary and Ronald's Records. Make sure to click the link below and go check them out. Guarantee you're going to like them. With that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guests.
Hi, I'm Dan.
Hi, I'm Travis, and we are
The Adio Sequence.
Hello. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, why don't we go ahead? We'll go down the line again and just get to know y'all real quickly. Why don't you tell us what you do in the band and like a little bit about yourselves?
Yeah. Go for it.
You want me to?
Yeah.
I play drums.
Nice. Nice.
I've been playing drums since, 14, 15.
Okay.
And I've known this guy forever, like 25 years, and we just kind of, I was like, oh, well, I can try and play drums. And, but my dad was a drummer too.
Okay.
So he was in a bunch of, the biggest band he was in was an AC/DC tribute band.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good tribute band to be in.
Yeah, no, he's done some big shows way back in the day, like with Sammy Hagar and everything. So I always looked up to him, and I was one day, or it was Christmas. He got me a kit.
Nice.
He got me a kit. It was in like all these different boxes, and I have a younger brother, so they were all for me. I didn't know it was a drum set. He did, but but yeah, I opened it up. I was like, Dad, teach me how to play. And he's like, no. Just
you just gotta do it.
Just do it. And
Figure it out.
And then we started playing music together.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah. Oh, that's awesome. It's cool that you had like a supporting musical member in the family already, especially for drums. That's a hard instrument to have in the house.
Yeah, it was always around, and I'd tinker with it, but he didn't want his drum set touched too much.
No, totally. And like when it's your own, I think you dig into it a little bit more, you know what I mean?
Right.
Especially if he's like traveling around with it, it's not always in the house. It's probably not always set up, and like it's probably set up the way he likes it.
Giant anvil cases.
Yeah, he had them in the road cases, and he had those monster toms, the old school.
Oh, okay.
Fit in his rack tom.
Oh, damn.
He was always practicing, and he put these little earmuffs on me, stick me in the corner.
Okay.
So I always grew up kind of knowing I wanted to play drums.
Yeah, you were gonna be around rhythm whether you liked it or not.
Exactly.
To a certain degree.
Yeah,
It's in your DNA, man.
Oh, yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And what about you?
I didn't have anybody musical in my family, actually. Like, I just sort of had an interest. I did band in middle school, so I started on the clarinet was my first instrument, because at our school you had to do that first to do saxophone. So
okay.
Saxophone, but then I did like a year of it, and I was like, this is lame. I'm not into this. And then I wanted to play guitar, so I started on guitar. Got an acoustic guitar, then I got an electric guitar, and then like Dan was saying, like we literally like started playing together. Like the first time we tinkered around was literally together.
Yeah,
that's how far back our musical relationship goes.
Oh yeah.
And then as we progressed in bands and stuff, I kind of just randomly fell into singing. I'm the vocalist of the band, by the way. So yeah, I just kind of got into singing, and then I fell in love with that, and I took vocal lessons for about a year and a half to figure out what I was doing. And then yeah, that's been kind of my main ride for years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that transition. You just wanted to be the guitarist.
Yeah.
And our other singer never wanted to put in the effort, like our actual singer.
Mhm.
And Travis was like, I'm just going to do this. And he did, man.
Oh, yeah. So do you play guitar as well when you perform?
No, not in this band. There's been like iterations where I've dabbled in it. And then I was in a different band. We'll probably get into that later, where we did some other groups and stuff, but that I played in. But no, for this band, I'm just a vocalist, and then I've really got into like producing and stuff and engineering.
Okay,
so
cool.
kind of fell into that role too with the band.
No, I dig that.
Yeah.
That's kind of my main now too. I started on bass and then I moved over to engineering at some point, and that seems to be where it's landed ever since.
Yeah, it's fun.
Hell yeah. We have a couple foundation questions we check in with everybody on. So we're going to go ahead and get those out of the way now. But this first one, it's one we ask early. It's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite. And I'll let you answer in whichever order comes up first. What was the first album y'all ever bought with your own money?
Oh, man.
I know mine. Well, with my own money? Hold on.
I think I know.
Go for it. I'll think of mine.
Please refrain judgment, people. But I remember going to Fred Meyer's in Tualatin with Josh, our guitar player, and his older sister drove us, and we both bought, don't judge me, chocolate starfish.
Oh, no, dude.
Okay.
That's your first one?
I think that's the first one I bought with my own money.
That's a legendary one.
That was a pretty iconic album for its time. Like, regardless
That
of
was
how you
our
feel
era.
about Fred, and I mean, I'm sure you heard about this, how he got pied in front of the Guitar Center Clackamas.
That's right.
Is that recent?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was when they did.
Or not recent. I'm sorry. No, that was many years ago.
Oh, okay.
It was when they were looking for a guitar player. That tour thing they did after West.
Oh, yeah.
I remember hearing that.
That's right.
I had other records before. Like that was the first album I ever had. But I just, with my money, like I think that's the first one.
That's fair. That'd be a hard one to ask the parents to buy.
Yeah, and my parents actually caught wind that I bought it, and they were not stoked on it. What does this mean? Like, what is this? And they pop it in. I'm pretty sure they creeped on it and listened, and they're like, the first song he says, the F word 58 times or whatever.
Yep.
47.
47. I'm sorry.
We actually have the stats here. Fred checked in on that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he quotes himself in the
He
song.
does. Yeah, that's the only reason I know that. Yeah.
Well, hey, I mean, we've all got to have a first one. So
Yeah.
there are definitely worse options.
Yeah. What about you?
My very first cassette was Nirvana's Nevermind.
Okay.
But I think that was gifted to me from Dustin, my older brother.
Yeah.
But the first CD I ever bought with my own money was Godsmack's Awake album.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I was really into their first album, like heavily, like trying to play how he does. Couldn't do it, but and then they came out with that, and it was really popular at the time. And I had some money, and I went and got it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, that definitely seems a little more on brand.
Right.
My dad, I rated his tape collection. He had Nevermind. I took Alice in Chains from him, 9 Inch Nails. So I had earlier experiences with that kind of stuff, but
with your own money.
You liberated it.
Yeah,
You gave it a second life.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I was diving through the CD tower, way at the bottom was Megadeth's Symphony of Destruction.
Oh.
And my dad claims it wasn't his. Like to this day, he's like, that wasn't my CD. I'm like, well, it was in the tower, and nobody else listened to that kind of music. And the Metallica ones were yours, so. But I listened to the crap out of that. That was like my first introduction to like heavier music.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why does his voice sound so strange but so cool? It's like an edgier Geddy Lee.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
Even more ironically, the first Rush album I ever listened to was Roll the Bones.
Okay.
Which is like a mid 90s album.
Yeah.
I had no idea about like 2112 or any of the classics.
Befores, yeah.
Yeah, until like high school.
Yeah.
So like for the longest time I was like, oh, 90s like a 90s like prog band. Yeah, that's definitely what they are. And then somebody showed me the earlier stuff. I was like, oh, what a fool I've been.
I know.
Yeah.
That's actually my favorite way to discover music is find an established artist and then work backwards.
Yeah.
It's such a cool way to listen.
Yeah, no, especially when they've been doing stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. I don't want to dive into me too much. But this next one is kind of attached to that question. What was the first live show you ever went to? That was like one you wanted to go to. So like you saw it was happening, you got the tickets and you went to it.
Oh, man. Do you remember yours?
I do. I know mine. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Mine, I was pretty lucky. My uncle David, shout out. He took me to, again, it's this era Family Values tour,
Mhm.
and it was the headliner was Stone Temple Pilots, and then it was Linkin Park, a very early Linkin Park,
Oh, damn.
like before they blew up.
Yeah.
Who else played? Stained played, Static X, rest in
Whoa.
peace, Wayne Static. There was another one, I can't remember the other band, but yeah, really, like, I love Stone Temple Pilots, so
Yeah.
I was really excited about that. And then
That is a
was-
stacked lineup.
yeah, and that was my first time seeing Linkin Park, and they actually didn't sound very good because they hadn't figured out how to replicate their album yet. 'Cause
Yeah.
there were so many tracks and backing track things, and so it was a little weird sounding. But it was still entertaining and cool and unique to see like two guys singing and a DJ and all that.
I was gonna say, yeah. Imagine a DJ in that setup for the rest of the the
Yeah.
rest of the bands not really having anything like that. Like that would have been
It was cool.
that. Yeah, that would have been a trip for sure.
I've loved also from my Uncle David, I grew up listening to hip hop too. So the two worlds
Okay,
combining was,
yeah.
that's why that whole scene resonated with me with Limp Bizkit and stuff too. I just love the sound of hip hop elements with rock.
That makes sense. Well, that was probably an amazing show.
It was great. Yeah. And that was my first concert ever.
I'm jealous of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good. My very first concert was a band. I was so young, we had to have a chaperone. So my
Mhm.
older brother's girlfriend took us to this show, Edema. I don't know if you remember that. Back
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a name I haven't heard in a minute.
The brother from Jonathan Davis.
Yep.
Yeah, Korn.
Mhm.
That was his band. So we went and saw that. My first like actual like big experience show was the following one. That was Rockfest, and Godsmack was headlining.
Okay.
But it was Deftones, System of the Down.
Oh, damn.
Hell yeah.
God, who else? Chevelle.
Oh, Chevelle, so good.
Was Chevelle at that one? God,
No, that was the 07 one.
that was the other one. Sorry, yeah, Chevelle wasn't there. It was the first time seeing Deftones, and I was hooked
yeah.
after that.
Their live show is awesome.
Because the only
never seen him.
the only one but was like a commercial like success or whatever
Mhm.
was what's that one called? It's the only one I ever heard,
Mhm.
you know. And then I was like, these guys rip, like these
Yeah.
In the House of Flies.
change.
That song.
That's the only song I ever heard. I was like, yeah, it's a good song, you know. But
Yeah.
I didn't realize their back catalog and all this other stuff they had.
Yeah,
And
they're like way heavier than that song.
yeah,
Yeah.
And, but that was a great show. Crowd surfing, I did it all. I mean,
I bet.
it was so fun.
Man, you both had two stellar like first real experiences.
Yeah, I know.
That's awesome.
My older brother was kind of like your uncle. Like he kind of introduced me to like Korn and
Mhm.
all those bands back then, and I'm glad he did because that was such a fun show.
Hell yeah.
I miss the Rock Fest and the festivals,
Yeah.
Big Stinks, all that stuff.
Man, the first technically it's not the now I can't say this yet. I realized I've been saying this wrong. The first like big show that I was ever taken to.
Yeah.
Not the first one I like paid my own money to go to. But the first one I was ever taken to that was like the first show I ever went to was Ozfest 2005.
Oh, hell yeah.
And like Iron Maiden was.
I was gonna say,
like,
what's the lineup?
I mean, I can't remember the second stage, although I remember like Arch Enemy was there as it was dying. Like the headliner of the small stage was Rob Zombie.
Nice.
Small stage.
Yeah, but the big stage was it was Mudvayne, Black Label Society, In Flames, Iron Maiden, and then
Dude.
Ozzy was performing as Ozzy and not Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
for that particular one.
That's stacked.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Yeah.
That's a
And
good show.
I think I was like 15 or 16. So
Yeah.
my mom had to go with me because my dad wouldn't take me in the Bay Area. So I actually went up in Seattle. We like
cool. Oh,
drove
cool.
from here to there
Nice.
and like got to see it. My mom is not into that kind of music at all, but she was a
That's
trooper.
cool she did
like,
that, yeah.
Yeah. Like we like got actual seats so that she could like sit and hang out and just like, I was just going crazy the whole time.
So she didn't just drop it, like, have fun. She helped.
No, she
rad.
was in there with me.
At the old festivals, man, those are
Well, like
so-
it was, I wasn't
Iconic.
like none of my friends were there because I lived in the Bay Area when I was younger.
Yeah.
So like I didn't have a group of people I could go with. So I would have been a 16-year-older just walking around by myself
Yeah,
at this giant festival in a place I did not know. So
Yeah.
she was like, "No, I'll take you."
that's so
That's so
cool.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and she never once complained. She was always just like, "Are you having a good time?" I was like, "Yeah." She's
That's
like,
awesome.
"Cool. Let's go get you a shirt and a CD." I was like, "Yeah."
That's a cool mom.
Yeah, it was a good one. But again, that's enough about me. Let's get back to y'all. And I know that there are two members that are not here.
Yeah.
But let's hear a little bit about how the band came together.
Yeah. Well, like we kind of alluded to, Dan and I started playing together in that was like middle school era.
Mhm.
And then we also knew Josh. He's our same age, our guitar player.
Mhm.
And we kind of came in and out of what we were doing.
Yeah, we were in Downside.
Yeah,
Was
a band
our
name.
very first band.
Yeah, and he was like in and out of that.
Right.
But it was kind of like us trying to be, I guess, sort of a metal band, new metal band.
New metal, yeah,
New
for
metal?
sure, yeah.
And I don't know that was necessarily his vibe at that time. He was more into like, he grew up, his family was really exposed him to like Zeppelin and you know, more classic rock type stuff. So that was kind of more his school of thought. And then we had a different bass player originally for just a couple years. And then I met Steven at, I worked for Guitar Center, as we said off camera. And I met him probably over 10 years ago now. And we just instantly hit it off. Like he was actually my boss. I remember like calling in sick one day because we went and met Brandon from Incubus.
Okay.
That was a legendary hangover.
Oh man, we just got after it because we were so excited about meeting him. And I called him the next day. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna lie to you, I am just hungover. He's like, stay home, man. I'm like, I ain't even home. I'm at the beach.
We were trying to get home.
If I wanted to.
Yeah. But anyway, just hit it off with Steven immediately. And at the time I was in a different band, so he came to that band. And then when we got this one going back up again, he was just like the first and only choice to join, and he was happy to do so. And here we are.
Yeah, we were like, come on.
Hell yeah.
I really hope Steven wants to be in this band.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And it's cool that it sounds like y'all have kind of had, you know, the same members as a unit for a long time now.
Yeah.
And like it go like you have like history with each other.
Yeah.
And like not every band I think gets that experience.
It's a rarity. We talk about it all the time. Like our thing is so rooted in friendship first and foremost. And I think that like really impacts our sound, as weird as that might
very
sound.
much so.
But it's just such it's the friendship is first and foremost. So that has to play into the creative side too. And it's just such a strong foundation. And I think people are weirded out by that, but
Yeah,
I can't imagine doing it in another way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it sounds cool. And like, and y'all are from here then, or have you lived in other places?
Yeah, pretty much like Portland area. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Suburbs. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. So like y'all are like hometown friends. Even.
Right.
Like that's
he was
crazy.
He was just up the block, you know.
Yeah.
In West Lynn.
Yep.
Good old West Lynn. That's where
Oh, damn.
the three of us went to high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like that is uncommon to have like people from the same town have started a band, all still the original members after a time kind of thing. Like that is
it is. I guess it is weird.
It's
Well,
weird.
it's like
It's cool.
I think I was listening to Attack the other day, and somebody's like, I don't think any of the original members are in that band.
Yeah.
What?
And I was like, how is it that band if there's no original members in it? Like that's such a strange thing when like the name of the band exists past all its members.
That is
And
interesting.
that genre in particular, like the more of like the like metalcore and that the sub genres of that scene are like that. Like it seems I'm not hating it at all, but it's like it seems like members and personalities and stuff are interchangeable. And and I guess we just come from the school of like, you know, the not just the ability of a member, but like what they bring personality wise to is a big part of it for us.
Well, and just the I think the story and the connection goes a long way. You know what I mean? Like being able to just be like, hey, look how far we've come. And like, look at all the things we've done. Like a catalog isn't like, I couldn't imagine like restarting my old band with like other members.
Yeah.
Like, it just like the music was rooted in the experience, not just in the music. But you know, that I'm not in a successful band, so I can't speak on it too much. But let's go ahead and let's dive into a little bit more of the here and now. We are going to get a super easy one out of the way though. How'd y'all pick the name?
Yeah.
I was also you guys. Picked it. I was the third one to join the band.
Yeah. So it started with so we were in this band Downside together. That I ended up leaving first, and then Dan left pretty shortly after.
I was still in it, and you guys were like, "Do you want to be in a band?" I was like, "Hell yes, I quit."
Yeah.
So
yeah, we just got kind of sick of some of the people in that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Josh and I started jamming together just with guitars and stuff in my apartment. And then we're like, let's pick a band name. So the name, we get asked this a lot how it's pronounced because it's Adio. We say Audio. And we picked it from, I think it's either Greek or Latin. It's like
Greek, I think.
I think it's Greek. Yeah. And it's where like adios comes from, means goodbye. Oh, so that's like the spelling for in Hispanic language as well. And And then also in that era too, like it was cool to like misspell it. So like even if people think it's audio, AUDIO, it's like we're doing the misspelled thing.
I was gonna say my when everything I typed it on kept correcting it to that.
It always does.
The U?
Adding that in. But I was trying to sound it out a bunch of ways, and I'm pretty big on like phonetics and like the English language and such. And it only really comes out as audio.
Yeah. We get every time we play a show with like a new band we haven't met, they're like, audio? Adio?
I was thinking like it could be Adio.
Yeah.
Like,
that's funny you said it because I just heard that like maybe 6 months ago. Somebody said that. And I was like, oh, that one's kind of cool.
Kind of like that one.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, because again, in the realm of phonetics, like the A being separated by a consonant and then the I, like it'll sometimes bring that first vowel up.
Yeah.
But, I mean, don't quote me on that. I'm not super versed in all of that now, but that was like, but that was what I was thinking. But in my head, I've been saying the audio sequence for so long. Yeah. I'm glad that it actually is that, because I was like, man, I'm going to say it wrong at some point because I keep saying it this way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The deeper thing too of like being the goodbye sequence, like that was fitting for that time frame. Because again, saying goodbye to my first band, basically.
Yeah.
It was kind of.
You should mess with people and tell them.
Meaning.
You should mess with people and tell them it's the Adio Sequence. That also means goodbye.
Yeah.
We always people are still confused to this day.
They just never say it the same way.
Yeah.
Always every time. Every time it's like, how do you say it? You say it like this, but you just told them that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or say something. It's the Agamemnon sequence.
How it spelt it all. What it says traverse.
Yeah.
What? None of those letters are even in it. But yeah, that's rad. And then let's talk about the writing process. Now, y'all again have been in a band for so long. I'm sure that you have this down pretty pat at this point. Yeah. But when it comes to getting a track started, how do y'all go about it?
It actually has changed. We used to be 4 of us in the room, and we just one riff will turn into 2, and then we'll play off each other. Mm-hmm. We wrote like that for a long time, and then but the latest model is kind of more. Josh he'll just kind of put it all together, put some backing drums on it and send it to us. So we get kind of a feel for it. So when our practices show up, and the same thing, Travis does the same thing. He'll just write the beats and the whole song, send it to us. And then instead of wasting time just practicing it the whole time, we listen to it during the week. That way we optimize our time and just kind of, what do you call it? The toss filter?
The toss filter.
Toss filter. The audio sequence toss. We do the toss filter on all these songs, and it turns into something that we all vibe with. That's the most recent.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. Yeah, it's usually a demo that Josh or I will make. Is kind of the new school of doing it, just because it takes out. We did it for so many years of jamming in the room, classic rock and roll with the whiteboard, writing out the structure, and we wrote a lot of amazing songs that way, and it's great. But it's good to switch it up, and so with the new technology it's available, we all have studios at our houses now, so we can all track and do stuff. So Josh and I have really leaned into that process, and it just cuts out some of the guesswork on structures and stuff like that. And the toss filter thing, what's cool about it is it's what I was alluding to earlier about the personalities of the band. If let's say Josh, like he just brought a song within the last month was inspired by a band called I Prevail, but we don't sound like I Prevail.
Yeah.
And the reason being is once you give us that demo and we all put our thing on it, it naturally filters and becomes our thing. And we've been doing this long enough now to where we kind of have our own thing, which is cool, And I personally have been really kind of drinking our Kool-Aid lately and just like, oh my God, this is sick. Like we have our own sound. And like, I love that Steven has his thing and Dan's drums. It's just, I'm excited to always see where the demos go because they always change.
Yeah. Well, like, I mean, you touched on it well, like with the advancements in technology and like everybody being able to record from home. It's almost like if you only meet up once a week to work on stuff and one of the people is not feeling the mood that week, like that's a whole nother week you have to go before like the possibility of creation.
Exactly.
And I mean, y'all know each other so well that like, I'm sure you could be like, oh, I can kind of imagine what the person is going to do because you know each other's style. So it's not like you're putting on these like insane, like crazy metal drums that like he's not going to be able to match to.
I could tell who wrote the songs. Like if he shows me one, I know it's him. Because he puts a lot of toms in there. And if it's Josh, there's a lot of cymbals. China cymbal, that's how it's cool. I like them both. It's funny, like I know what you want me to do in it, so I'm gonna go for that,
Well, then I imagine, once it leaves, whoever starts it, they expect that you're going to add your own thing.
Oh, absolutely. It's a placeholder.
There's never any like expectation to like, hey, you got to play it like this. It's always like, do your thing, make it cooler.
Yeah.
And he always does. Him and Steven.
Usually I don't know. You guys have been writing some good drum tracks. I just have to tweak it a little bit.
Well, I mean, they've been listening to a good drummer for so long. Easy to do.
I actually, when I do program drums, I think about Dan because I've known him.
Yeah, exactly. You've known the style for so long.
So I try to do it in my kind of simpleton way.
Yeah.
See, I've always learned when it comes to like putting down like space holding drum tracks, it's good to go like simpler.
Totally.
Because a good drum will be like, I like get the pattern and now I could do my own thing. Whereas if you like try to add a million things, they're going to be like, what do you want me to even do with this? Like, I can't do half of these things because you programmed it. Yeah. So that's always been my favorite approach on it.
Yeah, I need another arm to play this part.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like, how are you hitting the ride and 3 crashes at the same time? Like, the math doesn't math.
Yep.
I am curious to know. Somebody brought this up, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was Noise Brigade, but don't quote me on this. But they once started a track where the drummer wrote all of the track first.
Cool.
And then the rest of the band came and did the rest of the band stuff on top of it. Have y'all ever tried that approach?
Yeah, we did that one time.
We did that. I would think Electric Body.
It was Electric Body, and then even, what was that one? Well, it was way back when we did the second album.
Oh, it was a song called Let's Dance.
Let's Dance. Yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
We kind of like had the song, but we had time in the studio to just like, let's do another one. And I was like, all right, I don't know. Like, so I added all these things in it, a couple takes, and then it turned into a song.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That we never played.
Yeah, we
never played it live.
Unfortunately, you can't find these songs anymore either. We pulled them, but
I was gonna say, when I was going through your music, I didn't see a lot of like albums on the Spotify part of it.
But
we pulled a lot of stuff just because we've had a lot of different eras of the band, so we kind of wanted to treat it like a new era, a new band, even though it's the same name,
Because you said Electric Body, like that was like
totally different.
We were listening to totally different bands at the time, and we were going for a different vibe. We had other members in the band, so I guess we kind of just washed it out. But 2 times that's happened.
Okay,
and I have an electric kit at home too, so I played around with that. He showed me how to do Logic, and I was doing some demos. Finally, my life's calmed down a little bit. I might be able to start doing that a little more, writing my own, and then showing to the guys.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. Yeah. And it's cool. Yeah, that's the only other time I've had somebody say yes to that question. I've been trying to like feed it to everybody. I'm like, try this. Let me know how it works. Because it makes sense to me in a weird way because I just come from a rhythm-based experience.
Right.
Yeah. But that just, y'all the second people that ever say yes, we've
interesting.
Done that
before. Well, Travis Barker did that whole album with drums.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's Travis Barker. He's a legendary on drums.
I mean, I'm not there, but he just did a whole album and he sent it to Mark, and then they just made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the one with Feeling This.
Yeah.
Like that one.
I can never remember album names. It's just,
I think it's just self-titled.
Is it really?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the worst with names too, so I'll never remember those things.
Right.
They were never in the studio together on the album. He just
it was all
They just chopped it up and made basically kind of hip hop approach, but with Travis Barker drums.
Oh, wow.
The whole album.
I remember one time I think it was Dave Grohl did he at least tracked one whole song where he tracked one drum at a time.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. And I just you watch the video and it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But then you hear it and you're like, huh.
Didn't we do that one time?
I think we
played around with one of yours.
Experimented. I think Changes.
We did like the bass drum.
Yeah.
And then the hi-hat and then the snare.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Wild. Yeah. I don't think my brain could separate it that well. I have to have the other part.
It was weird.
Yeah. But that's also, that's Dave Grohl. He's played drums for a little while. He knows what he's doing.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's pretty good.
But that's enough about him. Getting back to y'all. Once you get a track finished, and especially because, y'all are sending it back and forth, you're never really in the same room until you get to practices. How long does it usually take you to get comfortable to perform a track as a band?
Pretty fast, actually. We work quick. We get together once a week. We do Mondays, and we're pretty disciplined about our timing and stuff. So if we know it's a day where we're going to be working on demos or something, we allot that time, and we just woodshed it. So, I mean, pretty fast.
from when we finish a song to when we play it live.
Yeah.
I mean, any new song because we've already played it probably 100 times. You know,
Yeah.
by the time we get to a show where we feel comfortable with it. But, you know, sometimes it's really, really quick. Like, we just made this a couple weeks ago.
Oh, damn.
We're like, we're comfortable.
But we also now we do, we built an in-ear rig and we do the backing track thing. So, so now it's a little bit more work to bring it to a live show. Cause if we're going to have, you know, any kind of backing element, which is, it's not, like when we use backing tracks, it's not like a crutch or like something that's like, if it goes down, like we can't play our song, like we're still able to do our thing. But
yeah, it's just that extra layer.
Yeah. Again, it's just leaning into the technology. Like Josh, our guitarist, maybe about a year and a half ago, was like, we should try in-ears. And we're like, okay, let's try it. And
in-ears are for live. They're so such awesome. A game changer.
Yeah, it really
game changer.
And it just made us better too, because we're on a click now.
And you each can have your own individual things. Exactly. I think that goes a long way because, like, for certain songs, like being able to hear certain elements of it differently. When I was in my last band, Smooth Talk, we had a backing rig because we were like an electronic funk rock group without a drummer.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so our drums were played off of that, but also I did talkbox. And having talkbox harmonies live, like
wow,
that it just hits so much different. And it makes for an experience. But like we didn't have full, like, other than the drums, we didn't have like our parts be played. We only had additional parts, but it just sonically made it to where people were like, how did you sound this full?
Right.
And it was like, no, we had this thing that does it for us.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, this day and age, like the technology's there. And I think, you know, some people will kind of snuff at backing tracks, but like, again, if it goes down, we can play our songs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's just
doing it for years.
Sonically filling us up. And like the core of what we're doing is what the four of us are performing. The stuff that's playing in the backing tracks, which is typically like a keyboard or a backup, like a harmony vocal or something. It's just there to enhance what the four of us are playing, you know?
Give you a little bit more of the album experience, but without it being like just a regurgitation of the album.
And it makes us play better because, like you said, we have our mixes in our ears. So I'm hearing my harmonies and I'm vibing off of that, and I'm hearing tracks and stuff. And then the guys, they like hearing a lot of vocals and they like hearing the click, and it just makes us perform better.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. And like I think it drowns out a little bit of like the extra noise.
Yeah.
Which can be really helpful because you're like, I can't hear what they're doing all the way over there. But like if you have it just right in there.
Yeah. The downside that I've found though is like, it'll sound like super dope in our ears. And then like, we'll like talk to people after the show, like, oh, I couldn't hear like this or that. And it's like, oh, it sounded good to us.
Yeah. You're like, that's
perfect up here.
That's not what we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And I think that's the never ending battle when you perform different places. It's like, if you don't bring your own sound person, because who has the time or the money? Like that's just a process in and of itself.
I would say 95% of the time it's not an issue, but there's always that one, like, you know, hole in the wall place you play that the guy doesn't know something.
Very much so. Do y'all play local a lot? Do you travel around a lot? How do you go about like gigging and such? Yeah,
we mostly local as of lately. Like everybody, you know, the pandemic years kind of everything on pause, so we didn't play for a few years, and we took that time to just restructure our band into what we're doing now. So mostly local as of now. We've got a couple or one or two out of town things planned here in the fall, just like kind of local market stuff, but out of Oregon.
It seemed like the big like Seattle, like Bay Area,
Seattle, Spokane, like that kind of stuff. But we have toured before, and I think that's something we'd want to do down the line, maybe next summer. Our goal is we really want to do festivals, like bigger festivals. I think that's such a great experience to like meet new people and new fans and stuff. So that's on our bucket list to really dive into that kind of market.
Have you tried like South by Southwest yet?
No, we've just never shot our shot. That's one thing that's a hole in our game is up until the last couple years is just like we were behind the times with like streaming. So like we had all this music, but back when we got started, it was still about physical sales and stuff, like selling your CDs and going grassroots at shows. So we were a little bit late to get onto like Spotify and Apple and all that. And then again, during the pandemic years, or maybe a little bit before, I really wanted to understand that more. I'm like, well, how do you do this? How do you promote this? And you have to have a budget for not only your recording, but also for your promotion. Because it's not the 90s. Like people aren't just going to magically find you.
Yeah.
There's so much music out there, and there's so many talented people that you have to, make your mark, and you have to put yourself out there. So we did that. Now we've invested in ourselves and our promotion and stuff. So like we have good streaming numbers, and we get messages and fan mail and stuff from people all over the world, which is so rad.
That's awesome.
And so to piggyback off that with shows and festivals and stuff, that's kind of the next like bucket list. Like how do we broaden? And so that's kind of the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, now I think is a good time to like be getting back into it. I think we're about to see a good upswing in the like return of like live format music.
Yeah, absolutely.
For a while, it definitely, like those first couple of years post pandemic were rough.
They were weird,
They were rough for everybody. I mean, my band fell apart because of COVID, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I was checking out some of y'all's music, and I mean, it goes back to like 2020 on Spotify. So you've got at least and you have a good range of sound. That was one thing I noticed, is that there aren't a lot of songs that sound like the same. They sound like y'all, which is really cool. You do, as you said before, have a very like the Adio Sequence sound, which is nice. I had a really hard time like pinpointing like, oh, this reminds me of this. It actually, it got to the point where I had to almost do it on like a song level.
Oh, cool.
But I was checking out your most recent track, Dreamwave, which came out in March, and I really like it. Like,
thank you.
The sound stands out like strong for me. It's like a perfect blend of all the previous music when I was checking that out, but it's still like catchy without feeling gimmicky, and like, which in the genre is kind of an easy trope to fall into. Yeah. But it's a really cool track. Can you guys tell us a little bit about it?
Thank you. Yeah. That one's really special to me for a lot of reasons. So that was one that I demoed, talking about our process earlier. And it was funny, like, it came together in like literally like 30 minutes. A lot of people say that, but like, I'm not exaggerating. I was sitting there messing around with some guitar stuff, made a beat, put it all together. I sent it to Josh. He's like, you fucker. I'm always like, I'm a terrible at guitar. And he's like, dude, this sounds so good. I was like, thanks, man. So then we brought it to the other guys. They really vibed on it. And that was one where like the demo was pretty good sounding. I was pretty proud of it, but like it was so elevated, especially by the drums. Dan really like put some energy and like personality into that one.
Yeah.
And same with Steven, the bass line, he put more melody into it. So then we recorded it, and then the video for it, I don't know if you saw that, was a concept I came up with I went through a divorce this year, and it was just brutal, horrible circumstances. It really kind of messed me up. And I thought of this concept for it. I was actually hanging out with you, Dan, and we were talking about it. And I was like, yeah, I want to like make a song for it. And I was like, well, maybe we have a song for it, because we hadn't put out Dreamwaves yet. And we listened to that one, and we're like, dude, this could work. And so long story short is like, it's this full circle song for me on a personal level in so many ways. So it's really special to me.
Damn. Well, it's like I said, it's a really well put together track. I couldn't find a hole in it. You know what I mean?
Ooh, thank you.
I really enjoyed it. But I do this bit where I pick out a personal one that I enjoyed.
Nice.
And I went with Circles off the Satellite EP.
Wow.
First of all, the bass was rad. Just from the get, like the second it kicked in, right at the beginning, it just going for it. And I mean, the guitar felt like in a weird, like this is kind of a weird take, but like almost like 90s prog in sound.
Yeah.
Which like like I said earlier, like first like Rush album I listened to was Roll the Bones. And so like it felt very familiar, but the track was really like, it was melodic and like modern sounding at the same time. And it was like quick paced, but it was very open.
Yeah.
And that was the one that I like latched on.
That's cool, man.
That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean but I will say this, you do have some heavier tracks, like, heavy, just to be on the nose. That and Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Which I'll be honest, I have to honorably mention that EP. Like the only reason I didn't pick a track off it directly is because I really enjoy the whole EP. Around the Sun.
Yeah.
Saying that? Yeah.
Yeah.
That just like y'all's music is really cool. Like just like I'm gonna take a second here and just say like when I was listening to, because I grew up in a lot of the the post-hardcore music and like things like that, a lot of like Under Oath and like things like that, but also
love them.
I felt like what was one of your tracks reminded me of Alien Ant Farm.
Oh, which one?
And like I think it was like, it was heavy, and then there was one other one, there was moments in it and I know heavy's kind of a weird take on it, but there's this cadence that the vocalist always had that like I think like you didn't replicate, but you have this similar feel where it's like it's musical, but it's punchy, and it's like it feels like it's full of intent. And I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I love the drums as well. I just don't know how to speak on drums as other things. That's
cool.
But like, the music as a whole, because I listen to all of it. I listen to every track you have on Spotify.
Oh, wow.
And so you have a big bump of music from me.
Oh, sweet.
But I really liked how everything felt like familiar, but timeless. Like I wasn't like, oh, this is that sound or this is that sound. It did, like by the end of it, I was like, oh, this is the Adio Sequence sound. So y'all definitely nailed that. But I'm curious to know, what is your two favorite tracks to perform?
Ooh.
Well, I want to say real quick with Circles,
yes,
that
please.
particular EP, the Satellite EP, we debated on pulling that because it's the guitar, like you said, the guitar sound is not as like heavy.
Yeah.
But we kept it on there because we worked with a guy named Chris Crummett on that, who was like legit. He's actually a friend too, and we're lucky to work with him. His big claim to fame is probably like Dance Gavin Dance and Issues, Sleeping with Sirens. Like he works with big people. Yeah, and he's just here in Portland, so he mixed that for us. And as much as it's like it doesn't quite fit what we're doing now, but I'm glad to hear you kind of have actually the opinion that it does fit.
I mean, y'all have a broad range of sound.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, like, and that track did feel a little bit different than the rest of it, but it shows a diversity in your sound, which I think really like it, like, cool. I like I said, I listened to all of it and I really enjoyed all of it, but that was the one where I was like, there's something about this that like feels different, but not out of place.
That's cool to hear.
Yeah. And like, it makes me think, okay, I have no idea what to expect from a live performance. And that kind of like excites me. It's like, it's nice to know that I can go and be like, all right, they're probably going to do some of this. They're probably going to do some of this, but they may also do a little bit of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like that, I think for me, I've always been a big, like, wide catalog listener.
Same.
That's kind of my thing. So like to be able to hear tracks like that and that whole EP, because like I said, I really liked Around the Sun. Like that one is the one, like I may or may not have listened to it like 3 or 4 times already.
Nice.
But like I think the Satellite EP, it just kind of gave me this sense of like, oh, there is range in this.
Yeah.
And that makes me think that like when new music comes out, I won't know what to expect. And that's really exciting for me.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, we try to elevate our live performances on every song, but if I had to pick one, I mean, I always have fun with Paranoia.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Because of the bridge it's a build up bridge, you know, and the groove on the verses. I just love that song, like playing that song. And it's a little more like, it's kind of different than the rest of the songs in sense of like structure. You know, it's one of those ones that just kind of you know, just
every chorus is different.
Every chorus is different, and
bridge
different timings and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd pick Paranoia out of the new. I mean, there's classic ones too, but I'll just pick that one.
Mine's probably a tie between Around the Sun and Heavy right now.
Yeah,
I really love performing those ones.
Hell yeah.
They're high energy, and like you said something about like the intent, like I feel that when performing it, like the lyrics are, I think, pretty strong. I'm proud of my work on that. So, and it's just fun. Like I always tell the guys, they're always amazed at this, but I'm like, Around the Sun is not very taxing on my voice, and it's a screamer. So a lot of screaming, but it's like pretty easy to do, which is weird because there's other songs like Deus Ex Machina that is hard.
Dude, so when we recorded Deus Ex Machina, we never played it. Travis just made that.
Oh,
that was another demo.
Oh, damn.
And we were recording a couple of the other ones, and Travis was like, "You just want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, man." He's like, "Just think Deftones."
Deftones, yeah.
And I was like, "Cool, Abe Cunningham, got it." And we did that in like one take.
One take,
yeah.
And the guitars on the final track are my demo guitars.
Oh, damn. That's cool.
Yeah. Deus Ex was fun. It was already written for me, and I was like, I don't want to change any of this, you know. And it was just supposed to be this fun like extra part of a song.
Yeah,
it is. it is a heavy track. Like,
Yeah.
like
when it's over, people are like, I want more. And we're like,
yeah, like that's not it's
on the next one.
I appreciate that it was at the end too, because I
Yeah.
think if you had put it any earlier, then the expectation gets set. But like you get this kind of well-rounded experience from the first three, and then that one closes out, and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Like you like it's like when, you know, like when bands play their big closer at the end of a show, you're like, it led up to this point.
Yeah.
Whereas like if they do in the middle, you're like, well, what comes after this?
Yeah.
So, like, and it kind of, when you circle back to the beginning of it afterwards, you get to appreciate like the breadth in the first three tracks as well.
That one always raises eyebrows. Oh damn.
Yeah. Well, it's like you don't get anything else like that until, again, like Heavy, where like you kind of bring that back a little bit. But like there's a cool spectrum of the styles within your music.
I would say the heavier stuff is kind of more what lane we're in right now. We fell back into that. That's where we started as a band, was heavier. And then we went a little bit funkier and poppier for a while. And then kind of that sort of spilled into that Satellite EP. And then, I don't know, we just fell back in love with being loud and bigger guitars and stuff. And now it feels the most authentic and natural to us, but still fun and challenging.
It's also coming back, which I really appreciate. There's a lot of emotion in music that's starting to show up again, like kind of across all genres. Like, and that I really appreciate that, because again, I grew up with like that sound to begin with. You know, like I remember my guitar player would not shut up about Story of the Year. Yeah. Until I like went and listened to him, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. Yeah. And like, you know, like Yellow Card and things like that. Like there were so many of those bands, and they were so impactful. Like I still listen to Seosin's self-titled album. Nice. Like to this day. Like there's just something about that. That's what I was going to say earlier. I couldn't remember. Your drumming reminds me of Seosin's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like there's a lot of moments where I'm like, oh, that is where it
cool.
felt.
Yeah, that's awesome. I will take that.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah. That was the one that I did not write it down, so I'm glad we got back.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
I've heard the Alien Ant Farm thing one other time, by the way.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is funny. So I know all the 2 or 3 big songs they had, but I wasn't like super into them. So it's not a direct influence, but I think it's cool.
Yeah. No, their music was like popular for like their hits, but like I don't think a lot of people ever like dived into their albums.
And I'm sure it's awesome.
They had a really cool sound. They just did not stay around long enough. Yeah. And that's kind of bummed me out, because like Glow is one of my favorite songs, and it's like the one nobody talks about, even though they made a music video for it. It's the most bizarre. Like every appliance in their house just comes to life.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
It was kind of a deep cut one, and like it was strange because like in the middle of the music video, the guitar player goes from like an acoustic guitar to an electric guitar for just the solo. But like it was bouncy, but it was emotional. Yeah. Like whereas they had a lot of, you know, like everybody knew like Smooth Criminal and movies and like These Days, which I mean these days kind of had a feel as well. Right, yeah. But like Glow was the one where I was like, there is a feeling in this. Yeah. And that, like I said, that really translated through your vocals as well. Like it had that presence, and not so much like you didn't sound like him. Yeah. But there's an element in there that felt really familiar.
He's kind of percussive, and I have that too in my approach to singing. That's something I just realized recently with the guys were talking to me about it. I'm into like reggae music and stuff. So like, I didn't realize that had sort of like bled into what we do a little bit.
It does, man.
That actually, you know, cool. That makes a lot of sense now that you've said it. Yeah. Like I could see that for sure. Yeah. And I think that's like, I connect with vocals that are more in that style anyways. It's hard for me to be able to sing along to people that are just like Adele level singing all the time. I'm just like, please don't. I can't.
That makes it fun. Sometimes I'll match my drums to his melodies.
Do little hi-hat things that,
like if you're like, or you know, one of your cool little things you do, and I'm like, that's a fill, or that's something I can accent his, and so it's fun to do. Yeah, and then switch it up to just straight, and then just those little accents. The aggressive singing, when
layers of the music like intertwine in between each other, that I love, like as a guy who's just been like making music forever, I hear those subtle nuances.
Yeah, they're fun.
So like when stuff like that happens, where it's like where the vocals and the drums link up for a second, you're like, whoa. Yeah. Like, that, and especially because like now I can tell for sure that happens live as well. That wasn't like an engineered choice in post. Right. So that's really cool.
Yeah, we're with our new stuff we're working on right now. Like we're doing a lot more of that intentionally, really focusing on it so that like people like yourself that are musicians, like we want to like show people that get it, like, oh, those guys are kind of cool, you know?
Yeah. Man, I
Show off our skills a little bit.
I appreciate when people make music for people who make music.
Yeah.
Like, not to say that every song has to be a musician's, music, but like when that's there, it really goes a long way because you know who it's for.
I think Steven said that, or maybe it was you. There was like, this is a song for musicians.
Yeah.
Like,
I've been saying that about Josh's demos.
right?
The ones he's been bringing in are
a bunch
real.
of new ones now.
Yeah, his stuff is like, it's not like it's like super technical, but it's like, it's just, he puts so much thought into his riffs and his voicings on his chords and stuff. And so his demos are just really interesting.
Yeah.
And so the 2 or 3 we've worked out, I'm like, I can just tell like those are going to be the ones that musicians are going to really latch on to.
What you said it then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. No, I mean, that makes me excited. I'm definitely looking forward to it. When do y'all think, or no, we'll do that like when things are coming out towards the end, but it sounds like you are working on new music. Can you tell us a little bit about like the style and like the sound and something like the characteristics of what we can expect?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, so you had mentioned the Around the Sun EP. It's actually a part of a larger collection of music that's already been done for a while.
Mm-hmm.
We did 14 songs. So we've just been snowball releasing it. Just, as much as we'd love to put out the big album and do the whole thing, it's just not the way it's done anymore. It makes more sense for the algorithm and all that shit. Sorry, cussing. Just for building our audience and stuff, it makes more sense to do singles, and then it builds to little EPs, and then eventually it'll be the whole thing. So we already have a big collection of music that's coming out. I would imagine, I think we talked about the rest of it being out by this summer.
Okay.
That 14 songs.
Yep.
And then concurrently we're working on new stuff, and it's, like I said earlier, it's very much in the heavy zone, the heavier stuff. So, and even like the song Heavy. So it's like that lane, but on steroids. It's like even more intense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
A little elevated a little bit more.
Yeah. And like I said, Josh's songs are those are the ones I think that musicians are going to really like. And the ones I've been bringing to the table, I'm really focusing on live show stuff. Did you ever see that Foo Fighters documentary where Dave Grohl was talking about making the second record, and he's like, I wanted a song that made the crowd go.
Oh no, I didn't.
So I wrote this thing, and then we did it at sound check, and it's a certain BPM, and then we played it that night, and the whole crowd was doing this thing.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that's kind of my thought. So I'm going for like bouncy stuff,
make people move kind of music.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, definitely looking forward to all of that. And like I said, we'll have y'all plug more of that towards the end. But for this next one, again, y'all have been playing forever, said it a few times. Do you have any like rituals or things you do before you go on stage as like a band or individually?
We don't have like a super unique one. I've been watching I Prevail. They have like a really like syncopated, every single member has one with every member.
Whoa.
And it's cool to see, but we huddle up, I can't think of like,
I feel like we should have something, but we kind of don't have anything.
Yeah,
We're always like scattered talking to people, and then it's like,
it is kind of hectic.
Yeah. One of us will be like, hey, it's time.
Where's Travis?
Yeah.
He's got like 4 waters. He's trying to give them to all of us. Like, it's more of a panic. And then we're like, okay, well, now we're here. We're on stage. So, but no, we don't have really a ritual.
I think it's just because we're such close friends. Like, we just kind of know we got each other's back.
Yeah. You can just be like, all right, guys, it's time.
Yeah.
I dig that. And again, I can't stress enough how cool it is that y'all have like been together for so long and like been close for so long for all of it. That feels like really positive. I appreciate that because I like miss all my old bands.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the newest version of us. What, 10 years? No. How long we been in the newest version with Steven?
Yeah, he's been with us about 10 years.
And he feels
still been like 2 eras within that 10 years.
Yeah, we did this different style, but it feels like he was always in the band. Like, that's how easily it was to be friends with him. So, he fell right in. So
I love that.
Yeah.
It's funny because I remember when we hit the point, it was like 2018 or 19 or something. I was like, hey, I went to practice. I'm like, do you know you've been in the band longer than our original bassist? He's like, really?
Whoa.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a fun milestone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So now it's been way past that.
Yeah. All right. Now we've got one last question to go in kind of this middle portion before we move on to the next segment. But I want to take a step back. We're going to zoom all the way out. So, we've talked about, music that y'all haven't even put out yet. But what are some things about current music in general that you are enjoying and like even like feeling like influences and inspiration from?
Like the music scenes?
Yeah, just like all of music.
I just have always, I said this up top, like just hybrid music has always been what I've gravitated towards, which wasn't always a thing, you know, in the 90s, especially when I was a kid, like it wasn't a thing. It was grunge and it was, you know, it was very genre based.
Yeah.
So when the new metal thing happened, I was really into that because of the hip hop rock world colliding. And nowadays I feel like that's such a huge thing. There's so many bands that are doing, bands and artists that are fusing styles, and that to me is exciting. It doesn't matter what it is. If it could be a pop song that has a rock riff, or a hip hop song that has whatever. I don't know. I love hearing like creativity that way.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite thing about the current music thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he got it.
No, and actually it's fun because that is, I've been asking this question more recently just because I'm always listening to new music. Like my two main things I check out are my Discover Weekly and my Release Radar. Like I won't listen to anything else until I've gone through those. But that seems to be the big recurring answer, is the blending of genres, which I really enjoy. I think that every sound can exist with every sound to a degree.
I think I'd piggyback off that too. The Discovery Weekly, and that I've found, or just like listening to something on Spotify and then it'll roll into something new that you've never heard before.
So I found this band.
Yeah.
It's my favorite band ever now.
Yeah.
Like the Beartooth, man.
Man,
those guys are...
Say what you will about the algorithms, but when you invest enough time, because I've been using Spotify since like, I think 2012.
Oh, wow.
Like I like early adopter.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it never fails to like show me stuff that's like outside of my purview. Like I like try to, I mean, I listen to like, I'm not one of those like, oh, listen to everything.
Yeah.
Like I listen to as many things as I can. If I haven't listened to a genre in a while, or like my suggestions start to seem too one-sided, I will go as far outside of my circle as I can.
That's awesome.
To influence it differently. My wrap up was chaotic.
I bet.
But like it does, when you take the time to like care about listening to music, it does pay it back in that form. Like, and sometimes it even like lets you remember things. Like if you're like, you know, like I was listening to y'all and afterwards, oh my God, who came on after?
Oh, no.
I hadn't heard in a while too, but I was just like, oh, this is exactly like in the realm of what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And so just, I really appreciate that as far as it goes.
I think it's great. I know there's a lot of, you know, they don't pay artists well, and that whole thing sucks, but like, I think it's still just such a cool platform, you know. And what makes me really proud too is if you scroll down on ours and it's like, you know, other fans like or whatever, it's like I look at those bands and the first like 6 or 7 of them are all guys I know, and they're bands in our scene.
Oh, that's awesome.
That means that we're a part of our scene, and our scene is listening to them. They're listening to us, and that's rad.
Yeah, very much so. That and just it. I don't know. I'll tangent off on this one forever. Let's go ahead. Let's move on to some hypothetical questions.
Ooh.
And for these, sky's the limits. The questions are all made up, so the answers are allowed to be as well.
Cool.
But we'll go individual answers for this first, and we'll start with you.
Okay.
If the band could perform with any other active band at the moment, who would it be?
I know what I'm going to say.
Say it.
I'm tempted to say Beartooth because we collectively love that band so much. And we just saw them back in February, and I think we would fit with them. But my heart has to go with Incubus because they're my first love.
Oh, yeah.
Knew it.
Yeah.
Also another rad band live.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that would just be like a bucket list thing. And we've met Brandon. He's like the nicest dude ever. It would just be cool.
yeah, no, that'd be a solid lineup for sure.
Yeah.
What about you?
Mine's one of two bands. One, Beartooth, which I do think we'd fit in. And then Hoobastank.
Oh, yeah.
Always wanted to play with Hoobastank.
Awesome.
Wow, that's a name I haven't heard in a minute.
I know, man. I love those guys.
I almost did it. I almost
know.
got us to open for one time.
Whoa.
We tried.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hoobastank. I was a big fan in high school, and then just ever since.
I didn't even know they were still around.
Oh, yeah.
We're still
Damn,
rocking, yeah.
That's awesome.
The last record was pretty sweet.
Hell yeah, I'm going to have to go check that out.
Yeah, no, but they got a great catalog, besides the ones that everybody was kind of just sick of, like The Reason. Like, every person on the planet's heard that song. But, like, it's their other tracks that they're worth the listen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me know that.
Yeah, man.
Also, I mean, I think that as a full lineup would be a really interesting show.
It would be. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so let's go. Incubus can headline, Hoobastank, and we'll open. Let's make it happen.
Well, get Beartooth on there too. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it could be a 4-band lineup for sure.
Dude, that'd be wild.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then subsequently, who are local bands that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to perform with yet, but you would like to?
He's better at this than me.
I got to shout out my dudes in Drowner. That's how I feel.
Oh, hell yeah. Shout out Drowner. Oh, thank you.
I love those guys, and I've befriended a couple of them since. One of them works at Guitar Center, so
cool.
I'm quite a bit. So them for sure. There's a band called Spirits. Sean is a good buddy of mine, so I'd love to play with them, and we will. That's in the works. Those are the big ones that come to mind.
Didn't we get like hosed out of not playing with somebody we really wanted to?
Oh, there was a band called Ghost Mode that I really like.
Oh, that's a cool name.
Yeah, they'd be cool. Yeah, there's so many cool bands.
Yeah.
Especially now that we're kind of back in the heavier scene. Like, there's a lot that we'd love to connect with. So,
oh yeah, you guys, the band I mentioned earlier, Noise Brigade, you should hit them up.
Oh, I know them. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've met. It was when I did the video for Scotty's band, Not a Shark.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because our buddy Scotty did their videos for them, their music videos.
Oh, cool.
And I think I don't know that he's in the band anymore. He was their drummer. I think they're just a 3-piece now, right?
I
don't know.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know, and I apologize.
Yeah.
You got me.
But anyway, no, they're rad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then for this next one, this one's pretty fun. If the band's music could be the soundtrack to any movie, what movie would you pick?
Ooh, that's hard.
Wait, now I'm just thinking of like my favorite movies.
Like Ninja Turtles?
Dude, yeah.
Yo.
Secret of the Ooze?
Yeah.
Yep.
But then we wouldn't have the
be all right with that
one, though.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have that.
Yeah. We could just
Wait.
Ninja Rap.
Ninja Rap.
I got that verse on lock. I got it. Gosh, that's hard.
We're very 90s kids, so
Yeah.
there's too many.
Terminator or something. No.
Terminator.
But like, I'm trying to think of it, like what would actually make sense. Like
That's what I'm trying to think
something like maybe like a buddy cop movie, like Lethal Weapon or something.
Sweet, dude.
Okay. I would watch that.
Yeah.
I like that. Let's just go with that one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could take one, you could take two.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then lastly, if you could add an abstract instrument into the band, what instrument would you add?
Turntables, scratching.
Yeah. We kind of
Already do that. Yeah. I just do it now in the tracks. I make them.
Okay.
But a dude actually doing it.
Yeah.
But a dude, like actually,
That would be fun.
A guy would be cool.
Yeah.
DJ.
Yeah. We've had other things. Like we had a keyboardist for a long time during our kind of pop era. We had a guy playing percussion. Both of them are still our buddies, but yeah, it just didn't end up working out long term.
That's fair. Yeah. And also y'all are pretty locked in on your like sound and design anyways at this point. But that one I'm always just like, is somebody going to say like the oboe?
Yeah.
Like
we do have, I do djembe sometimes.
Okay.
That's kind of unique.
That's bringing it back. That's old school stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the one? It's a steel drum, but you just...
Oh,
oh
my God.
Gorgeous sound.
Yeah, it's like that big circle one.
Oh no, I shouldn't even say anything, man.
Damn, I can't remember what it's called either.
They're expensive and
it's like lap something.
Yeah. But it's got all the different tones on it, man.
Everybody
I would slap one of those in a track.
Put the name in the comments.
Yeah, please.
Let's get some crowdsource information on that. Put links in the comments.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's get them one.
Yeah, something like that. Like it kind of sounds
for like a theme,
like exotic.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah. No, that is it. Like I know that they're somewhat particular because you can only have like so many, like kind of like like a steel drum, like only so many notes can happen in it.
But it looks like a clam. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No. I just if I can remember for the edit, I'll put it on the screen. But can't remember at the moment. But let's go ahead and let's start wrapping this up.
Yeah.
What can we look forward to between now and the end of the year?
Well, like I said, we're sitting on a larger collection of music we're snowball releasing. We've done a lot of singles up to this point, so it's getting to the point where we should probably just put it out.
Yeah. We got the music video.
Oh yeah. We just shot a music video for our next single called "Sink or Swim." Is the song. It's literally my favorite song we've ever written. It's going to be our hit single that puts us on tour with Beartooth.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, we just shot the video for that, so that'll be coming out here soon. And then knowing us, we'll probably have even newer music by that point, by the end of the year. We work
Awesome.
fast, so.
We're in writing mode right now, which means we'll be into recording mode soon enough.
Mhm.
Hell yeah.
So,
No, definitely looking forward to that. And actually, everybody at Beartooth in this as well. I should have said that earlier. Let's
yeah.
Tag 'em.
And then for this next one, go ahead and look straight at the cameras and tell everybody how they can find you.
You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, any streaming service that you like to listen to music on. We are on there, and we're the Adio Sequence, ADIOU. And we're on Facebook, Instagram, X, and all that stuff too. TikTok, anything. We're there.
Oh, yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else y'all like to put on while you're on here?
Oh, man.
Buzz and Static.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. I got a solo thing, but we can do another show.
Oh,
Hey, there you go.
yeah.
Good
We'll bring
call.
you back for that one.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
No, I'm good.
If anybody wants to check us out, we always appreciate a listener. So Spotify's the big one, obviously. Apple Music, if you want to jam on us or subscribe to our YouTube channel, that's always huge. We have tons of music videos. They're all very high quality, and we're very proud of them.
Oh, yeah. All right, then we've got one last question to go. But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second.
Sure.
As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary and Ronald's Records. Make sure to click the links below and go check them out. Guarantee you're going to like them. With that being said, the final question. And y'all can answer in whichever order you would like to. But what is an album you feel is more on the obscure side? So it's a deep cut. It's one not a lot of people would know, but it's one you think everybody should know.
Oh, I got this.
Go for it. Trying to think of the album name.
But it's like one of my favorite albums ever. It's called Honeymoon Drips, and it's by an artist called The Chain Gang of 1979.
Whoa.
No, 1974. Sorry.
Whoa.
Wait, let me make sure that's right.
Yeah, no.
I was getting.
I don't know why that sounds so familiar.
Okay, so he did the song on GTA 5. The
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
we're just sleepwalking.
Yeah.
That was his big break. It's The Chain Gang of 1974 is his project name,
Hell yeah.
and the record is called Honeymoon Drips, and
Yeah.
it's amazing.
That's a cool rec.
Yeah, he put it out in 2020 independently, and it's done over 1 million streams. He did this all independent, so it's also just inspiring as an artist.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what about you?
I know Josh would like this. Envy of the Coast.
Low Country.
Yeah, Low Country for
Yeah.
sure. That's it. Start to finish album. Every song is like kind of different, but
Mhm.
it flows so well. Everybody should listen to that album.
Hell yeah.
It is
It's amazing.
fantastic. That's probably what Josh would have said anyway.
Shout outs to Josh.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. This has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy,
I'm Travis.
I'm Dan.
and we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap. This is not a podcast. This is a show. Keep jamming.